Pulse Talk, bringing insights into health and wellness with your hosts, Christine and Alex.
All right, so picture this. It's 3 in the morning. You realize you're completely out of your prescription medication and need it urgently.
Oh, yeah.
But of course, every pharmacy is closed.
Yeah.
Not a great situation to be in.
No, definitely not a good situation. Especially if it's something you need regularly.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting, because this is a problem that Alpro Pharmacy in Malaysia is trying to solve with this new system they've rolled out.
They call it NAYAO.
NAYO.
Yeah.
So what is NAYO?
Well, it's basically a network of smart medication lockers.
Okay.
So you can think of it almost like a high-tech vending machine, but for prescription meds.
A vending machine for prescription meds. That's innovative.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, and there's a good reason they went this route.
Yeah.
Because traditional dispensing methods, they don't work for every type of medication.
Right.
Some medications are sensitive to heat and light.
Like if you leave a chocolate bar out in the sun.
Exactly.
It's going to melt.
It's not going to be the same.
Yeah, same idea. Same with these sensitive medications. You know, exposure to the elements can actually degrade them and make them less effective.
Right.
And that's obviously a big deal when you're talking about your health.
Yeah. So how does NAYAO address that?
Well, these NAYAO lockers, they're designed to be secure and climate controlled.
Okay.
So they actually have to meet these strict safety and quality standards set by Serum.
Serum.
Yeah.
What is that?
So Serum is Malaysia's industrial standards body.
Oh, okay.
So basically, it's like a stamp of approval that guarantees these lockers meet all the necessary requirements for safety and performance,
Right.
which is really important when we're talking about something as crucial as medication.
So they're kind of like a safe haven.
Exactly. They protect the medications from degrading.
Okay, I like that.
I like that.
And then the best part is they're accessible 24/7.
Yeah, that's a game changer for people who can't always make it to the pharmacy during normal hours.
Yeah, if you have like a really busy schedule or you're a shift worker or something.
Oh, absolutely. And even better, it's completely free to use.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Alpro Pharmacy really wants to make sure this is as convenient and affordable as possible.
So what types of medications can you actually get through NAYO?
Well, it can handle a lot of the common formats.
Okay.
Like tablets, capsules, liquids, even sprays.
Oh, wow.
But there are some limitations.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Things like cold chain items or controlled substances.
Right.
They have to be handled differently due to regulations.
Yeah, of course.
But for a lot of the regularly prescribed medications, NAYO can dispense them.
That's still pretty impressive, I think.
Yeah, and this is especially beneficial for people with chronic conditions who need regular access to their prescriptions.
So it seems like the target audience for this is pretty broad then.
Yeah, it can help a lot of different people.
Like who comes to mind when you think of who would benefit the most from this?
Well, anyone with unpredictable schedules for sure.
Okay.
Or people who really value their privacy.
Right, because you don't want to have to rearrange your whole day just to pick up a refill.
Exactly. And speaking of privacy, NAYO has a really unique feature for that.
Oh.
They use a QR code system to give access.
Right.
So only the person with that code, which would be the patient, can retrieve their medication.
Oh, that's smart.
Yeah, and the packaging itself is also discreet, so you don't have to worry about anyone else knowing what you're picking up.
That's great, because there can be a stigma around certain medications.
Absolutely. So this way it's much more comfortable for everyone.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
So where can people actually find these NAYAO machines?
Right now it's in a pilot program.
Okay.
They're focusing on corporate locations in the Klang Valley.
The Klang Valley.
Yeah.
So like factories, office buildings.
Exactly. Places with a lot of shift workers who might need access to their medication outside of normal pharmacy hours.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
So what's next? What happens after the pilot program?
Well, if it's successful, we could see NAYAO expanding across Malaysia. It has the potential to really change how people get their medications.
It definitely seems like a big step towards a more convenient and efficient healthcare system.
Absolutely.
But what else, besides just convenience, what other impacts do you think NAYO could have?
Well, for one, it could make a big difference in medication adherence.
Oh, right, because people forgetting or missing refills is a big problem.
Exactly, but NAYO makes it so much easier to stay on track.
Yeah.
And when people take their medication as prescribed, that leads to better health outcomes overall.
It's all connected.
It is.
But what about the role of pharmacists in all of this?
That's important to remember.
Yeah.
NAYO isn't meant to replace pharmacists.
Oh, yeah.
It's designed to support them and help them be even more effective.
So how does that work?
Well, pharmacists would still oversee the dispensing process, making sure everything is accurate and safe.
Right.
And they'll still be available for consultations, whether in person or remotely.
Got it.
So they can answer questions, provide guidance, and really focus on more personalized patient care.
It's like this perfect blend of technology and human expertise.
Exactly, working together to create a better healthcare experience for everyone.
So I think we've covered a lot of the basics about what NAYO is and how it works.
Yeah,
But there's so much more to explore here.
definitely.
Like, what are the potential implications of this technology?
Right, both good and bad.
We need to look at that bigger picture.
We do.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about the potential implications of NAYO, both good and bad.
Yeah. Where should we start?
Well, I think it's important to acknowledge that, like any innovation, there are going to be potential downsides or challenges.
Right. We can't just assume it's all sunshine and roses.
Exactly. There are always things to consider. So one concern that comes up is the potential for medication errors.
Oh, okay. With a system like this.
Yeah, even with all the safeguards in place, there's always a small risk that the wrong medication could be dispensed.
How could that happen?
Well, it could be a human error during the stocking process,
Oh.
or maybe a technical glitch, or even a patient accidentally accessing the wrong locker.
So human error is still a factor even with all this technology.
Absolutely. Technology can help reduce errors, but it can't eliminate them completely.
That's a good point. So what's being done to minimize those risks?
Well, Alpro Pharmacy has really emphasized the importance of having strong quality control measures in place.
Okay.
And they're constantly monitoring the system to catch any potential issues.
That makes sense. What about other potential downsides? Anything else come to mind?
Well, another concern is the impact this could have on the role of pharmacists.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Some people worry that these automated systems could reduce the need for pharmacists in certain settings.
Yeah, I can see that. If people are mainly interacting with machines, it does kind of raise questions about the role of the human pharmacist.
Right. But it's important to remember that NAYAO isn't intended to replace pharmacists completely.
Okay.
It's more about shifting how they deliver their services.
So how would that look in practice?
Well, pharmacists would still be the ones overseeing the whole medication dispensing process.
Okay.
They'd make sure everything's accurate and safe. And they would also be available for consultations.
So they're still very much involved.
Absolutely. It's more like they're freed up to focus on other aspects of patient care.
Like what kinds of things?
Well, things like medication reviews, chronic disease management, patient education.
So more of that personalized care.
Exactly. And that's really where pharmacists can make the biggest difference.
So it's like this win-win situation.
Yeah, potentially streamlining tasks and allowing pharmacists to focus on what they do best.
I like that. So we've talked about potential downsides. Any other challenges or considerations?
Well, one challenge is making sure this is accessible to everyone.
What do you mean? I thought it was designed to be more accessible than traditional pharmacies.
In a lot of ways, yes, but not everyone has access to a smartphone.
Oh, right.
Or is comfortable using technology. So there's a risk that some people, like the elderly or those who aren't tech savvy, could get left behind.
That's true. You don't want technology to create new barriers.
Exactly. So Alpro needs to consider these issues and come up with solutions.
Like what?
Well, maybe they could offer alternative access methods,
Okay.
like a phone-based system or even dedicated staff to help people who need assistance.
Those are all good ideas.
Yeah.
Okay, so beyond accessibility, what are some other challenges they might face as this expands?
Logistics and infrastructure will be key.
What do you mean?
Well, as the network grows, they need to make sure they have enough lockers in the right locations.
Right, you don't want people having to travel miles just to get to a locker.
Exactly. And then there's the challenge of managing medication inventory and making sure refills happen on time.
Yeah, that sounds complex.
It is. It requires a lot of coordination and a really sophisticated system.
But if they can pull it off, the benefits could be huge.
They could, yeah. It's a really interesting case study in how innovation can disrupt traditional models.
It is. So what do you think? What's the key to NAYAO's success?
Well, I think public awareness and acceptance are crucial. People need to understand how it works and feel confident that it's safe and reliable.
And if they don't trust the system, they won't use it.
Exactly. So Alpro will need to be very transparent and address any concerns people might have.
What about the role of the government? How do regulations play into this?
Regulatory approval and support are definitely essential.
Okay.
The government needs to be on board with this approach and make sure it aligns with existing healthcare regulations.
So it's not just about the technology itself?
No, it's about navigating the whole regulatory landscape.
And then there's the financial side of things.
Right, sustainability is key.
It's great that it's free for users, but how will Alpro cover the costs of running this whole network?
That's a big question. They might need to look into different funding models or even government subsidies.
So there are a lot of moving parts here.
There are. A lot of things need to fall into place for this to work on a large scale.
But if it does, the potential rewards are significant.
Yeah, it could really change how we think about accessing medication.
It's a fascinating concept.
Mm-hmm.
So, shifting gears a bit, what do you think our listeners are thinking about all this? What are our listeners thinking about NAYAO?
Yeah, are they excited about this 24/7 access, or are they a little bit cautious about those challenges?
Yeah, good point. What about you, listeners?
What stands out to you?
We've been talking a lot about NAYAO in Malaysia.
Right, but what about the bigger picture?
Do you think this model could work in other countries too?
Could this be the future of medication access?
It's exciting to think about all the possibilities.
Definitely, NAYO is a great example of how innovative thinking can solve real problems in healthcare.
Absolutely. And I think it's really commendable how Alpro Pharmacy is trying to make medication access easier and less stressful for people.
Yeah, they're really focused on putting the patient first.
Exactly. And it's not just about convenience either.
Right, it's about better adherence, improved privacy.
Ultimately leading to better health outcomes for everyone.
Exactly.
Imagine a world where getting your medication is as simple as ordering food online.
I like that analogy.
It would make such a difference.
It would. It's about giving people more control over their own health.
I love that. So as we wrap up our deep dive into NAYAO, I want to leave you with one final thought.
What other areas of healthcare could benefit from this kind of outside-the-box thinking?
What other problems are just waiting for a solution like this?
Maybe it's something you've experienced personally or something you're really passionate about.
Whatever it is, don't be afraid to share those ideas.
Because you never know, your what if could be the next big breakthrough in healthcare.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into NAYAO.
And keep those innovative ideas flowing.